So we're going to start with a cube, and then we're basically going to form a model for this, similar to, let's say, a book, or in our case, it's the Bible. All right, so thickness would be, it's kind of like a cereal box kind of type. I'm just going to lay it flat on the ground, which is what we want. And I'm going to turn on my screencast right here, so you could see the key that I'm pressing on the lower left corner right there. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the shape of it. All right, so right here I'm just going to apply scale, because that's all the transform we did. But just to be safe, just put all transform. It doesn't hurt. Okay. So that means whenever we try to do any modification on this, Blender doesn't think that this is still a cube. It's already a modeled object. All right. Next, I'm going to press edit mode. I'm going to click tab right here, and then I'm going to press the face selection so that I can delete the area, because we just want the cover for this one. Okay. But it would be a good idea right now, before I destroy this, duplicate this and hide it. This is our page, okay? So I'm gonna duplicate this one, Shift D to duplicate. All right, and then I'm gonna right click to cancel the movement. Go right here, and I'm gonna put pages right here. So that'll be our pages, and I'm gonna hide it using the visibility icon. Rename the original cube, so this will be the cover. All right, so at least we know what's happening. The reason why we did that is so that we don't have to recreate a cube again and then scale it just to simply match the cover. So save us some time. All right, so we got the cover right there. I'm gonna go back to my selection by hitting tab, going to my edit mode, and then I'm gonna press X to delete the faces. And we're with this, okay? So we just need to do several modifications with this. The key here to so that we don't have to do a lot of work is to get to the minimum model, and then simply apply the texture and the UV mapping. So you don't want to UV map this. UV map is basically how you apply the picture on the surface. You don't want to be doing that when your model is already complex. You can still do it. It's just a lot of work. Okay. So we're gonna bevel. So the edge. I'm gonna go to edge mode. So number 2 for your for those that are using keyboard shortcut. Okay. That and that right there. So those 2 edges. And then I'm gonna use the bevel tool. There's several ways to do that. I can right click and then actually summon the bevel edge tool right here. I can also do Command B, or I could use the tool right here. The beauty of this tool, when you use it, you get this yellow little handle that you can pull, okay? If you're using right-click bevel, then you have to move the mouse. So it's a little bit more, in a way, interactive, but you don't get like controls like this, okay? But if you press this again, that's a second bevel. So be careful with that, all right? So it doesn't allow you to kind of rest and stop and make changes, not unless you click bevel right here and then you access the control over here. You see it where it pops up bevel. Okay, so when I click this, I get access to the offset right here. So you can still make changes here, but you don't want to be grabbing that yellow one. The moment you initiate that, that's another bevel on top of bevel. So we'll probably leave it like that, maybe a little bit more, maybe something like this. And I'm going to increase my segments. So this is the bevel segments that will create this curvature right here. So that's probably going to be okay. Maybe something like that. I want it a little bit more rounder, maybe. Okay. Keep in mind, this will be shade smooth. So it's not crucial that we pepper this with segments. I mean, you can make it super smooth like that. It's just that it will be inefficient for us. We're probably not going to appreciate it, that we won't even see it. So this is probably fine right here for our purpose. Maybe 8. Okay, so I'm going to put 8 right there. All right, and then Blender also remembers this segment setting. So the next time you do a bevel, it automatically applies that because it thinks that's what you want. So always when you do a bevel, always open this little pop-up parameter right here so you can change your segments. Okay, so that's fine right there. Okay, and I'm gonna hit the tab right here to go to object mode, or you can click over there to, if you don't like keyboard shortcuts. And then I'm gonna apply the a solidify modifier to this so that it has thickness. Right now it's like kind of paper thin. We could do an extrude and all that, but that's kind of a lot of work. So we're just gonna leave it like this. Okay, and we're gonna apply the solidify modifier. There's solidify, really simple tool to use. All you have to do is mess with the thickness right here. It gives you thickness. Okay, what we want to check also here is even thickness right here. You want to put a check mark on this one. Just so that it's equally distributed, right? There might be some organic look to something where you don't click even thickness. It gives you a little bit of imperfection and whatnot, but I don't think you'll notice it. So just let's play it on the safe side right here and even thickness. So how much thickness? 0.05 should be fine. So that's kind of like a really durable, thick cover, maybe 0.4. All right, I'll go with that. 0.04. All right, so right now, this is a modifier applied to the paper thin object. So if you press tab right now, like you want to access all the polygon, you only have access to the original paper thin. So you can't be using a UV mapping to apply it on everything. You have to apply this. So once you apply a solidify or any modifier to an object, it becomes permanent part of it and it goes away from here. So any parameters that you want to change, you have to do that way before you hit apply because you won't have access to it, okay? I'm gonna hit apply. What happens? It disappears. When I press tab or go to edit mode, we now have access to the solidify thickness as if it's part of this, okay? So now it's a solid mesh ready to go, okay? I'm also gonna do another apply transform here because I'm paranoid, okay? So I wanna make sure that whatever modifications I do, it conforms to the shape. Okay, so now we have to apply the texture and then I'll do a little bit more modeling after. So let's do that first. I'm gonna switch to shading right here. All right, there's we're in look dev also, which is the third one. So this is not the realistic render, right? The fourth one is EV. This is what we're gonna be using. Yeah, I probably switch to that one. I'm gonna press N right here to access my screencast. For some reason, this thing doesn't activate unless you turn it on and off. Then you get to see a little bit of it over there. Let me see here. Can I even offset it? There you go. So it shows up here. Okay, so right here, we're not going to stay here too long. We just want to apply that texture. So I downloaded that, went directly to downloads. We're not going to steal it. We're going to set it to the wild after, right? So you guys better delete it after. There we go. And we're going to do our minimum for this one, meaning I'm going to apply it to the base color. And it's going to be terrible because Blender doesn't understand how we want that projected, but it just applies it, which is what we want. And then we're also going to be using it for our roughness right here. So we're just going to plug it directly. However, this is going to be super shiny. It's not something we're going to be happy with the roughness. So we're going to have a way to control that by adding a color ramp. Again, Shift A to add, or you can just click the add button right here. We want to do a converter color ramp. And when you drop that thing into the noodle or the line, it just automatically plugs it for you. So you don't have to drag those, it just does it. All right, and then here we'll control, white and black, and then how much shininess we want on this thing. But it's kind of hard to appreciate right now because it's so zoomed in. So we'll go back to this and make changes to this after. And last one, we want to create a bump for this one. I'm going to do add or Shift A vector bump. You want your color plugged to your height and your normal to normal. Okay, and it's going to create this really jaggedy texture right here. And the strength is what controls that. So I'm going to minimize that a little bit, maybe 0.4 to start with. So we've got it applied minimum setup what we need. We just have to do some UV editing and then edit the book so that we can add more bevel to the edge, because right now it's super sharp right here. Okay, so we're going to switch to another window called UV editing. And UV editing is simply telling Blender, hey, apply the picture at a particular location or position. Okay, again, I'm going to turn on my screencast on and off so we get to see it. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to go to the top, number 7 right here, so that we know for sure we're accessing the front of the Bible or the front of it. All right, when I click here, and then you can see right here where Blender thinks this thing is actually positioned originally right there. We don't want it there because we want to be using where it says Holy Bible and then kind of center that. So what we need to do here is called unwrapping. The keyboard shortcut for unwrap is U for unwrap. So if I click that, it gives you several options. We're simplifying this, so we're going to be applying those sides specifically to particular locations. So we're just going to use unwrap right here. Not smart, but no projection or anything, just simply unwrap. So I'm going to click that. Okay, as you can see, the orientation is wrong, but at least it gave us the proportion for this one. So here I'm going to select all those by dragging. Okay, or I can press A to select them all. Okay, now the orientation is wrong, so I can do rotation for this. Keyboard shortcut is R, and then we can type in 90 degrees, and it does that. Okay, or because sometimes depending on how you model and whatnot, you might have to do a -90 so that it does it the other way around. Another way to rotate and have control is to press R to rotate and then hold down control. Okay, and when you're rotating, it goes to 5-degree increments. So you can for sure do a 90-degree, 45-degree turn, 180, so on and so forth. Okay, so I actually prefer that. It gives you a little bit more leeway. Okay, so I do like the orientation here, but let me kind of scale this. Let me see if I can fit it. The key to success here is that you want to use as much of the picture. Okay, you want to use as much of the picture so that it's you don't get pixelated. All right, but look at the border; it's way too close right there, and I could compress that. So I'm gonna scale this one. I'm gonna use my scale tool so I can interactively grab those handles where I want to make this thing kind of a little wider. So, all right, so let's say I'm pretty happy with that one. Maybe I made my Bible too long, so maybe this is for the smartphone version of the Bible reader where they're so used to their long phones. No, okay. Anyway, maybe I scale it down a little bit just so that, and squeeze it a little bit right here. All right, so it's not too kind of weird that it's so skinny. So I messed up my model here. I should have made it a little wider, but that's fine. All right, so the front is fine. It's done, okay? Let's go and select the back. The back thinks it's that one. So all we have to do is find a spot. So unwrap it. Okay, find a spot where it doesn't have the word Holy Bible right there. So I'm gonna press A to select everything here. Scale it a little bit and then just move it down. All right, and I think that's fine right there. Okay, because I'm looking at the texture pattern right here, and it's almost the same size. All right, so next would be the binding part right here. So you got to make sure you're selecting all this. I'm gonna go to my shaded mode so you can easily see it with no texture. So you're selecting this one at a time. Good old-fashioned slow select. You can do a paint select and all that, but there's not a whole lot of segments to select, so I'm just gonna do that one. All right, so they're right there. I'm gonna press U right here and unwrap. As you can see, voila, perfectly aligned. But I want to maximize this a little bit. I want to make them a little bit bigger so it matches the. Well, actually, that should match it because I remember the top being almost just on this area right here. So, go look at EV right here. All right, that looks good. Okay. So what we need, what else do we need? The side right here. So I'm just gonna do this one side first. So the bottom side, kind of. And I'm just going to select this. Just be careful when you select. It's not that you're going to miss some. You might actually add some. So going to do a quick preview, go around like so, or even go to wireframe mode just to make sure that you did not select anything special. All right, so let me go back to EV right here. Press U to unwrap. I like the position already. It doesn't have this, and it has all this kind of variation. Okay, I'll do the opposite. All right, so press U to unwrap. All right, that works too. It covers everything. Okay, this one and that one. You can just put this together. Press U to unwrap. Okay, right there's fine. I mean, you can move them over here, but you know, you can't tell the difference between those. Okay, finally the insides. This is still important because you're gonna see a little bit of the lip right here of the cover when we put the pages in there. So this needs to be addressed as well. So we could probably do this at the same time. Let's see, being lazy sometimes. So okay, this one worked. This one didn't really work. So I'm gonna be just selecting this one and simply press A to select everything and press G, kind of move it here. All right. Finally, the back one, so the opposite of the bookbind, the insides of it. Is gotta select this one at a time. Then don't miss anything like that one. Press U, unwrap, we'll leave it right there. Okay, so UV is done. Okay, I'm gonna switch to our shading here. Okay, to take a look at the super shiny. So what I'll do is the color ramp that is plug in from the original image to the roughness. All right, this is basically a cheat. Normally you would have your texture would have a roughness map version. You would go, let's say, an image editing software like Photoshop or GIMP or Krita to kind of manipulate that. So it becomes grayscale and only certain parts of it kind of does that. But this one, we're just kind of being lazy and cheap. We just want to kind of use the same map, and then we're controlling with this one so that we can change the difference between black and white. So I'm gonna first select the white part right here and drag it back. So this one scales a lot of that shininess right off the bat. Okay, all right, right there is probably good. The black one, we're still getting a lot of shininess. So I'm gonna do here is, since we can't really control this black anymore, it'll just make it more shiny if we go this way or get rid of all the shininess. So what I'll do is tone down black right here, which is selected. So I'm just gonna go here and then bring that up a bit. When you go all the way up, there's no shininess at all. So I'm gonna go like so, maybe about half. Okay, let's see, before and after. So this is the original one. This is no shininess. Maybe up here is fine. Okay, especially our the portion of the texture that we took. It's that the center one. It's not. It's a little bit lighter. It's darker here, so that means, which is what it would be if you were using the Bible. You will be holding it mostly on the edges right here, where you have your hand would contact skin on that one, and then your oil would transfer to the book. So as if you were holding it here, but you never really touch it right here. When you're holding it, it'll be always on the edges, okay, or even here. All right, so that kind of worked. Let's take a look at our bump. Just drag that to 0.4. That's for starters. So let's see the original one, very coarse and rough, all the way to 1, 0, no bump at all. So I'm just gonna move that 0.2 maybe. That's probably good enough right there. Okay, but you see the faceted lines that we added in that bump section right there. So I'm just gonna right click here, shade smooth. Okay, what happens though when you shade smooth is you might see some artifacts on the side. Okay, so what you need to do is go to your data panel right here, data property, go to normal, and apply auto smooth. So auto smooth gives you the shade smooth on this one, but it retains your rigid sharp edges. Okay, which leads us to the next one. So I'm going to go back to the modeling tab right here. Turn on screencast again. Go to Eevee and zoom in on this one. All right, so let's take a look. What else do we need? This one right here. You don't want to be holding your Bible razor sharp like this, or give it to someone and cut their hands, and that's how you lose them. All right, so we're going to bevel all these edges. So I'm going to go to Edge. Okay, what we want is this all the way around. So I'm going to press down Alt, Shift, and click the line. It goes all the way around. Okay, Alt is to do that selection. Okay, and then oh, Andre's saying hi right there. And then if I hold down Shift, it adds its selection. So I'm still holding down Alt and Shift and clicking that one. As you can see, it got added. Okay, and here and that one. Okay, and then when I'm gonna left go Alt right now, I'm just holding Shift, so I can add this line and that line, this line and that line, this one and this one. All right, so it looks like Andre wants to join our class. So thinking how I'm gonna do that. All right, so hold on, let me. All right. Okay, he's gonna join us, and I lost my selection. All right, so I'm gonna do bevel right here. Okay, so I have this little yellow handle. So if I drag this, there you go. So we're creating the bevel. You see it? All right, so this is how much you want to basically bevel. Maybe that's too much. So I'm gonna open this up. Here I have more control by sliding this. I'm probably gonna go 0.07. Okay, and then give it that much segments, maybe 4. Okay, so that will give us rounded corners. Okay, but check this out. If we go to UV editing, we don't have to worry about those. They're factored in. You see it? Because we did it after the fact. If we did all the UV editing after we added those bevel, then you select those things. You have to put UV editing on all those. Okay, so that's no es bueno. All right, so there you go here, and then we're probably going to add 1 or 2 more things here so that the cover here is separated. Okay, I'm going to go over here and write this where we have the cut. I'm going to do Control R. And the thing is, since we did UV editing already, if I do Control R and then just slide it, this is all factored in, meaning it will cut the UV edit, and then you're not going to see any warping. Okay, because this is still allowed. You're still positioning it. I'm going to leave it right there. Okay, and I still have the bevel tool on, so I'm going to over here to my select tool. Watch this. If I try to move this now after I cut it, watch what happens to the texture. You see it? Because this is not taken into consideration on the UV edit. So make sure when you do your Control R, which I'm about to do down here, or your edge slope, you want to position that where you want it. If you failed at it, you know, you want to reposition, just redo it, undo, because you don't want to be going to UV edit and then start adding that. So why are we adding that when it's get one of these? Well, that's part of the binding. This is what we're about to do here. So I'm going to go to number 3 here on the face mode, select this one face, and then I'm going to hold down Alt and click one of those lines, and it just does this all the way around loop of a selection. And what I want to do with this is inset the polygon, right? So not extruded, but inset polygon. We have different extrude, well, we have one inset right here, inset faces. Keyboard shortcut is I, so I'm going to select this one, And where's my yellow thing handle right here? Is when I press this down or up, see what happens? It gives you like this border. It's kind of like an extrude and scale at the same time. All right, so I just kind of gave it like this border. Another way we could have done that is I went Control R and did 2 cuts right there. That would have been the same thing, but inset polygon makes it a little bit faster for us because we just use 1 tool. Okay, and after that, I'm just going to simply scale this, press S, and slightly just scale it in. All right, just so that we get like a, well, actually, let me click undo. Not just scale it. I just want the Z axis, the up and down. So S and Z. Okay, so we kind of got like an indent. If I press 1 right here, and let's take a look. We just want that indent almost just at the top. So I don't want it kind of, so I'm just going to go with my move tool here and then kind of manually bring that down a little bit. Okay. And what happens is that when we now look at this, we get that kind of indent that you see on the book. See it? Okay. Not very pronounced, but it's there. And we're going to do it for the opposite part also, which is the bottom. We're going to go to solid mode here so I can easily see that. I've added the cut already from the previous one, so I'm just going to Alt select, okay, inset faces, go to my handle, right there is fine, okay, and then if I go to number 1, which is the front, I'm going to go with my scale tool, just the top 1 Z, and then move it down, up, sorry. Kind of flatten that. How I flatten that one right there. So it just kind of creates this indent on the book. If I remember, I think it's also on the side, but if it is, you can always add that. You can just scale it on that one. But I think for the cover of the book, we are done. So let me go here. Okay, so there it is. All right, and if we want the Holy Bible name right here to be a little bit more recessed and whatnot, we might actually need to go into Photoshop or Krita or GIMP to manipulate the image so it's separated from the rest, and then we can make it protrude, or it's kind of like embossed. But we can also check on the shading right here, how much we can push the strength and the distance right here. So if I go invert, it does the opposite, okay? So you get your bumpiness go the opposite way. So let's see if this is something that will be helpful. So I'm gonna increase the strength. All right, but we do sacrifice because they're all together here. Whoever provided the, it's just one image. So if we push that too much, then also the indentation right here would also match it. So I think I'll leave it like that. That should be good enough for our purpose. Okay, so next part would be creating the pages right here, which we've done already, but we'll do that demo on a separate recording. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna leave the recording here. And that's how you create the cover for the book. And then we have the pages waiting for us right here, exact same spot. So I don't usually save anything, but this one I'll save so that that one right there would, would work. Bible.